Feel to the Real listeners, don't forget to check out the I Care Too Much podcast with our very own Jarrett, the football genius Burgess, a.k.a. Jethro, and his co-host, LT, as they cover a myriad of topics that will have you in deep thought or laughing uncontrollably. You can catch them on Anchor Podcast, Spotify Podcast, or Apple Podcast. On the NFL, about the coaches and the pass interference.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you told me about this yesterday.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
So there's this great debate now, which seems to happen every year, as the NFL season looms in about 90 days now.
Mm-hmm. Not even.
I think because it was 90.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's like 90. I
So
think
it's like
we're
90,
about.
right.
Look, I've been keeping up. Look, yeah, I think we're about 90 days out.
Nah, we closer to 60. What's this? The middle of June?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we
You
definitely
talking about preseason. I'm talking about the actual season.
Yeah.
But they have instituted this pass interference replay rule.
Mm-hmm.
But they have not locked down the responsibility of the pass interference call.
Right.
Replay call. And so the big great debate this time is whether coaches should be the ones who are throwing the challenge flag for a pass interference call, or whether the referees who are, I believe they're talking in the sky, like in the box,
Mm-hmm.
making the call down to say that was pass interference and you need to go replay. And so the refs don't want the responsibility and the coaches don't want to use their challenges.
Of course. we saw what happened to the Saints.
Oh Jesus.
Look, I know you ain't forgot about that.
No, I have not. but yeah.
That's crazy.
I look at this as like, it's the ref's job.
Right. You call the penalties.
You listen, y'all gotta. Yeah, I'm about to say something all inappropriate. Oh yeah, there you go. You enforce the rules of the game,
mm-hmm.
and do it boldly. Let me just say it like that. Do it boldly and confidently and courageously, because that's your job.
Right.
Coaches get 2 challenges,
mm-hmm.
and only get a third if they win both.
Right.
Which, how often does that happen? That they win one.
Right. Probably almost never.
So, for me as a coach, if I'm a coach, I'm like, you want me to do what with my challenges again?
Right. Wait, what? You adding something else I got to challenge?
Right. Because one of the arguments the refs made, and it could be for the coaches as well, is every play could
mm-hmm.
end up being about pass interference.
True. It's
your interpretation of what it boils down to. I mean, I know there's a what am I looking for the word? There's a legal way that they've put it. That this is what's considered. There's a definitive definition for what they consider pass interference. But
mm-hmm.
even that is, in my opinion, is subjective. And so, which is most sports officiating anyway, is subjective.
Right, yeah.
But
you can call pass interference every play.
That's the point the refs were making.
Yeah.
But then, so doesn't that same thing apply to the coaches? But they have more to lose to me.
Right.
Like, you're the ref. If you say, oh, let's replay that, you're slowing the game down.
Right.
But you're not causing what could change the fate of the game.
Right.
I feel like that's why. Listen, just take it on, refs, okay? And just be okay with it. I mean, you know what I mean?
I think this Saints thing was the reason why.
Of course, it was reactionary. But
and how often does a play like that happen?
I was gonna say, like, it's hard not to be like, well, first of all, it wouldn't have been botched up. I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
For me, 9 times out of 10, that would have been called on the field, and it wouldn't have had to been a replay right. or any of that. Mm-hmm. You would have just said from the beginning pass interference, because it was clearly pass interference. Right. Yes, I said it. Clearly pass interference.
Mm-hmm.
So
wait, you said that about the Saints?
I did. You heard me. Hey, it is what it is. I'm fair if nothing else. But they but like you said, how often they gonna get clear cut like that type of pass interference calls? So maybe they go back and they read this. They may have some more discussion around the definition.
Mm-hmm.
And giving them more parameters for what it should look like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, call it if it's this.
Right.
Like, because honestly, if like you said, every play could be pass interference in my opinion, because either offense or defensive pass interference.
Oh,
because 10 times out of, I'm going to say 20, it's the offensive player pushing off or you know what I'm saying, or something to get that separation. Right. So,
and they rarely call it.
You got to have just your whole arm got to be stretched out, and so they rarely call it like that. But I do know that they, so they just need to, and they arm wrestle the whole way when they running the route, they the whole time. So, I mean, you put some parameters on it that are definitive. Like, you know, they have to, like that one with the offensive pass interference, they call it when they see it because that's part of the definition of it is when they outstretch their arm. So when your whole arm is extended, then I know I got to call pass interference. Right. So if they define it like that, maybe.
Well, see, the issue is that they don't define it. I mean, it's not that they don't find it.
They got a definition.
They have a definition. It's the interpretation of the rule.
Well, then they need to make it more clear that it doesn't have so much subjectivity to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're going to make the refs feel better about having to make the call, then give them some more definitive what constitutes pass interference.
Right.
From a defensive or an offensive player.
Mm-hmm.
So that they then can feel more comfortable making that call. And it may even surprise us, and doing that might cause the on the field call to happen more often, not requiring the replay.
Right. I just think some calls are always going to be tricky because you can call holding every play.
It is holding every play.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Somebody is holding somebody every play. This is true.
Unfortunately, they don't call it as often as
well. And you know, I was gonna say, I know.
Player, you know,
I know it boils. I know it boils your butt. I get it, cause I get it. I mean, yeah, they don't. And then honestly, let's just be real. It's got to be again so blatant with when it happens. Mm-hmm. Because the linemen are not really who they're paying attention to.
Right.
It's the skilled people that are playing that they like, oh wait, no, that's what I'm looking at. So yeah. Either way, I just thought that was like, what? Y'all really having this great debate about who's gonna make the call? Just make the call.
Right.
How about y'all get it right from the beginning? Let's start.
Oh.
Just get it right from the beginning. Come on. Anyway. All right.
Are you a part of a college football program? Is your program preparing you for what you are purposed to do when football is over? No worries. We have you covered. The Field to the Real project assists college athletes in discovering purpose off the field. Contact us at fieldtothereal@gmail.com to schedule a meeting with the administrators of your school's football program. Let's work on your future as you go from the field to the real.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.